Good afternoon, believers. This is Minister J from the Vineyard. Wanting to leave you with this thought. Isn't it time we come out of the box? Now, some of you might ask, well, what do you mean, isn't it time we come out of the box? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the boxes that we create to compartmentalize and otherwise divide ourselves from one another. We do it with a lot of things. And one of the things that we do better than anybody else, than anything else, especially as Christians, is create boxes. We'll box in people because they don't fit a certain caricature type. We'll box people in because they do certain things or act certain ways that we may not agree with. We treat them just like groceries coming from the grocery store. Oh, we gotta put the noodles over here, but we gotta put the cereal over there. We gotta put the canned goods back here. We gotta make sure we stick the meat in the freezer now. Isolating everything from one another. And that may be well and good for your groceries, but we ought to not treat the people of God that way. We ought to not create God's creation that way. I can't be around gay people because it's against my religion to associate with gays. No, God never said it was against your religion to associate with gays. He said it was against him to associate with people and condone the things that they do. If you think I'm lying, I'll get to that in just a minute. But we'll compartmentalize people and divide them. Gays over here with gay folks, and black folks over here with the black folks, and gun lovers over here with the gun lovers. And we think that we're supposed to stay separate, segregated. We went through all of that history with black folks feeling like, they weren't part of America because of the fact that we were segregated, blacks over here and whites over here. But then in the church, we have the audacity to draw those same dividing lines between us and others. Oh, well, the tithe payers can sit in the front of the church, but those who don't pay tithes need to sit in the back. Or, we need to keep the ones who dress a certain way out the front of the church. If we can't keep them out the church altogether, We don't want them giving the right impression. But we never know what a person's story is. We never know what a person's situation is. They may need to sit up front, where they need to be in the house, where they need to be around the saints. It's important that we stop drawing these dividing lines. It's important that we stop putting ourselves in boxes and putting other people in boxes. And the crazy part about it is we'll tell people not to box us in with their stereotypes and with their egotistical thoughts and feelings about who we are and who we aren't and all of these things. But then we will turn around and we will put ourselves in a box. Depression, anxiety, fear, prejudice. Those are some of the boxes that we place ourselves and others in. Pride is a big box that we have a tendency to place ourselves in. And then we wonder why we have problems thinking outside the box. We can't think outside the box because we won't poke our heads out of one box before we run into another that we placed ourselves into. You ever see one of those toys where it's the same image on the toy, but one is just a little bit smaller than the other, and it's stacked in one is just a little bit smaller than the other, and it's got one in there that's a little bit smaller than the other? Well, we do the same thing with us in boxes. We'll create one box after another box after another box after another box, and we'll confine God's power and his ability to work in our lives. We'll compound our blessings and confine our blessings and keep them from getting to us because we're in the boxes. We'll keep ourselves away from people that we need to minister to because we're in boxes. We'll ostracize other believers because of the fact that they don't believe what we believe in. So then we'll put them in boxes as well and put ourselves in another box, and it's box after box after box. And then we wonder why we can't think outside of them. Believers, it's time to come out of the box. It's time to shed these boxes and come out and recognize that there are certain places we need to go, and certain people we need to see, and certain things we need to do. And we cannot do those things until we enjoy the freedom of being able to roam in a boxless world. God is able to do exceeding abundantly beyond all we could ask or think, according to the power that works in us. But we can't access that if we are not able to see outside these boxes. We need to be outside the box. Remember, Jesus didn't hang out with the people that were in his well, his culture or in his race or his lineage or anything like that. He hung out with the publicans and the sinners. He hung out with the harlots and the loose women. He hung out with those people who needed his help. He said, people who are well don't need a physician, but the sick do. But go and learn this. I will have sacrifice. It's not for the saints, but the sinners that I come. Understand that we're in this world, we're on this earth to help as believers to bring other believers into the family of faith. Those who don't know, or those who can't quite see, or those who are on the fence. And until we learn to access these people by getting out of the box and by taking them out of the boxes that we placed them in, we'll never get there. We'll never reach everyone that we're supposed to reach. There are souls acquired to our hands that we can't get to because we're too busy placing them in boxes and placing ourselves in boxes. But remember, the Bible teaches what you do to the least of his children, we also do to him. So every time we place one of his people in a box, we're placing Jesus in a box. And then we wonder why we can't access his promises, why we can't be blessed beyond measure, why we can't feel his presence when we need him the most. We placed him in a box. And what's worse, a lot of times we place him in a box along with the cross. But he got off for a reason. And it's his ability to roam free and be in every place at all time because he's not still nailed on the cross that allows us to have the grace that we have. And it's because of that grace that we can feel free to get ourselves out of the boxes. Feel free to roam and to talk with those who may be outside of our social circle. Talk with those who may not seem to fit our particular caricature type. To talk to those who may not be reached any other way except we have the bravery and the good sense to minister to those who don't look or sound or act or believe quite like us. So it's time, believers. It's time to get out of the box. It's time to not only think outside of the box, but act outside of the box. Walk outside of the box. Talk outside of the box. God is not looking for the same old same. He wants extremely extraordinary, peculiar people who walk boldly in his power to confess the name of Jesus and to help those who are inside their own boxes to come out. It's Minister J from the Vineyard saying it's time to get out of the box. God bless.